I'm Eric.
And I'm Ash.
And this is The Hash.
With Eric and Ash.
All right, we are live.
Episode 3. With me, Eric, and Luna Bear.
Eric, Ash, and Luna, the trifecta. Luna's probably about to hit her head on the microphone here, but that's okay. Yeah, hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Today, what are we talking about, Ash?
Mistakes.
What kind of mistakes?
Mistakes we've seen with our clients and mistakes we've done ourselves.
Wait, you've made mistakes?
I know, right? Shocking.
Oh, God, there she goes. Bye, Luna. Okay.
So, do we want to start talking about mistakes we've made or clients?
What's pulling you right now? What do you want to talk about?
Probably maybe like ourselves first, because I feel like client mistakes would kind of tie into that.
What were some of the biggest mistakes you made? Well, first off, what were you trying to achieve or do, and what were some mistakes in hindsight?
Yeah, I was trying to be skinny. That's how I got into the fitness kind of world is, everybody goes and parties in college, whatnot, but it took a toll on my body. I gained so much weight in college, and then after college, or my last semester, I didn't recognize myself, so I was like, I need to get skinny. Got obsessed with health and fitness, but I was doing it in the wrong way. I went vegan. That was my initial kind of like jump into the health and fitness world. But I think that, the biggest mistake I made was just trying fad diets, like diets of all sorts, just so I could have kind of this quick fix. And I feel like I did that all throughout college and stuff like that. But after college, when I got seriously into it, I went vegan, and that I lost a ton of weight right away, but you should not do that.
And why do you think you lost a ton of weight when you first went vegan?
Because I cut a ton of calories and I was eating minimal food.
Yeah.
Like,
what were the types? I know we've kind of talked about this a little bit in the past, but like, what were some of the things that, like, what was a typical day of eating, trying to be skinny, freshly virgin vegan?
Yeah. So for breakfast, I'd have fruit because I read this book called Skinny Bitch. And
great title.
Yeah. So it pretty much convinced me to be vegan. I ate fruit for breakfast, and that's it. Sometimes
what kind of fruit?
Literally everything, like mango, watermelon, literally anything. And then I would like wait a couple hours, and then I'd have a smoothie with no protein powder or anything. It was literally just vegetables and fruit blended up. And then lunch, sometimes it would be like oh my God, Luna's making a ton of noise over there. Sometimes it would be just a salad. Sometimes I would literally just have a juice. Like I got a juicer and I was obsessed with it. So I would just have a juice for lunch, and then dinner.
So we have fruit for breakfast, fresh juice for lunch.
Yeah. Sometimes I'd make like kale chips and corn. So I'd literally just have kale chips and corn for lunch. And then, some vegetables. Like that was like a minimum day for me though. If I ate that way though, I was happy. I was like, wow, I did so good. I barely ate anything, and I lost a ton of weight, but I was starving the whole time.
And how long did you do that for?
Probably like 6 to 8 months.
And was this while you were trying out for dance teams?
No, this was like right before that.
Okay.
I don't think I was still vegan, but I was eating a little bit more food, and I was like slowly starting to learn the benefits of protein. I was still vegan, but after workouts, I would always have like a protein shake or something like that. But yeah, I wouldn't change it just because it kind of took me into this whole world. That being said, I do not recommend it as a way to lose fat, because eventually, once I started eating normal again, gained a little bit of weight back, and it just was not sustainable.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing. Fad diets. I've done a million of them though.
Any other ones come to mind that were super,
I don't know,
just big mistake that someone could avoid?
So I don't know if it's like, if this is called, well, I've done keto. That just is not sustainable for me. I like carbs. What else have I done? Like no carbs, like keto, whatever. I've kind of done that, but like no carbs was me for a long time. I was like, carbs make you fat. Can't eat those. I did Weight Watchers, and I used to macro track without an actual like coach or anything like that. And I was just like, cool. It's a game of eat as little as possible and eat as minimal calories as possible. And that's kind of how I looked at Weight Watchers too, because it's essentially like a point system. So I was like, cool. I have 30 points. I'm going to eat 15 points worth of food, you know?
Yeah.
So just like, again, like that little as possible, working out as much as possible.
So I think within that, like, so obviously the, wait, real quick, is that red light on?
Yeah.
Cool. So I think there's like even another mistake within there, you know, just like, you know, kind of this black or white thinking, kind of like this extremist on top of this fad diet thing that you kind of went through. Yeah, so don't make those mistakes out there. Not going to be fun.
It's hard though. The diet industry is like a bajillion-dollar industry, and they market to make you think that that's the way it's going to solve
I even
your
heard something the other
problems.
day. It was talking about like how, I think it was in like the 60s, hopefully I don't screw this up, but it was like in the 60s, the sugar company like paid off the scientists who were like saying that sugar was causing all this heart disease, and like blamed it all on fat, or it was something like that. And it was something, it was some like, I don't remember the exact dollar amount then, but it was like equivalent to like $45,000 today. So like, you know, I mean, that's a good little paycheck, but that's not like that much money. And so
I feel like,
and that's just kind of what these standards in this diet industry is based upon, is shit like that.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of sketchy stuff that goes down behind closed doors that we don't know
especially in
about.
America. That's like the because like I don't know.
Europe has like amazing healthy food, and like people go to the store every day. You don't like buy in bulk, you know, like it's all whole food ingredients, and it's way cheaper. Like grocery stores there, from what I remember, it being a lot cheaper just to like buy healthy foods. Here it's like so expensive. Faz Organic on it, you know it's gonna be like twice as much.
It's like paying for guac, right? You know you're whipping out that billfold.
Yeah, which I do. I totally do. I'm that person.
Okay, cool. So fad diets, keto, Weight Watchers, just
like macro tracking without
yeah,
really knowing anything about
and
it.
just kind of like as little input as possible with as much output as possible. And I think that's a very common one, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, I know I kind of fell into that when I kind of started on my weight loss journey as well. And like it sounds silly, but like the way to just like frame it up is like, okay, cool. What are you going to do? Just drop calories forever to what you're eating a raisin a day? Like that's not sustainable. And then on the other end of the spectrum, what are you going to do? Run a fucking marathon a day? Like, no. Like, yes, in order to lose fat, you got to create a calorie deficit, but like there's limits to that, and it's typically a lot less than people think.
And that's why I think it's so interesting with clients is like they're eating, some clients I have, especially professional dance world, they're eating so little calories. And I'm like, you are doing a ton of cardio from dance. Like, and they're like, I'm trying to lose, you know, fat. And it's like, you're not eating enough food. You need to heal your metabolism first.
Right. Well, and I think in that too, like another mistake that people make just in general, you know, and I have clients that do this too, is like always wanting to be in this state of fat loss, you know, like, and it's not that they're even necessarily like constantly losing fat. They just want to keep going, but it's like the mindset is always like, oh, let's lose fat. It's like, okay, well, one, if that's what you want to do, fucking get your shit together and start eating it accordingly. But two, like, I think it's important to take like have periods of the year where you focus on dieting, have periods of the year where you focus on, you know, building, whether that be strength, whether that be muscle, whether that be, you know, cardio endurance or whatever. And then you have parts of the year too where you're chilling, you know, and going through these different phases. I don't think you can just do one thing for, especially fat loss, just because it's such a stressful process on the body.
That's a mindset side of things where people are always chasing, like, gotta be smaller, gotta be smaller. Instead of, like, one, enjoying the process, and two, loving themselves, whether they're, you know, you can, like, appreciate your body but still want to have goals. So just, like, being okay with where you're at and knowing that you're pushing forward, as opposed to, like, not being happy where you are and just hating the process until you get to your quote unquote dream body. You know what I mean?
Word.
But yeah, what other mistakes? I know, I have so much dog hair everywhere. What other mistakes have you made?
I think a big one for me was, like, not choosing exercises appropriate for my body and structure. For example, like, I recently, probably the last 6 months or so, I've just accepted that, you know, most barbell exercises are not optimal for my long, lanky structure. Now, that's not to say that, like, I shouldn't ever do them or that I don't ever do them. I do sometimes. And, you know, especially when, you know, going through COVID and working out at home, you know, a barbell is like a staple piece of equipment. But I think I definitely could have had some better progress and just enjoyed it more. Not like I ever got really injured, but, like, just kind of aches and pains. Like, I could have picked exercises that were better for my structure. For example, like barbell back squat. I have just, like, the tightest calves. I tore my Achilles, and so now that is even tighter there at the ankle. I also just have, like, a long torso, long femurs. And so, like, for me, a much better exercise would be, like, a front foot elevated split squat over, like, a barbell back squat. And, like, instead of, like, bench press, like, I really prefer, you know, like a dumbbell bench press or even a chest press machine. I've been loving the machines lately. We did, like, an all machine. Yeah. And I mean, kind of going off that, that's another mistake that I made was, like, kind of like demonizing machines.
Well, I feel like people, like, especially with social media, like, just regular barbell back squats, like, that is the cool thing to do. And so that's,
and the guy doing it might be, like, 5'5", like, super mobile, like, just has the perfect setup for that. And, like, dude, like I remember I used to lift with my friend Tom, like, in high school and, like, the year after high school before we went to college. And, like, you know, he's Asian and, like, he could just, like, squat down and, like, you know, he could just get into those perfect positions. And I'm over here looking like a freaking, you know, baby giraffe trying to walk. And, like, so yeah, but yeah, no, I think that's right. Like, you see, and I was totally victim of that, seeing all this stuff on social media.
It's hard not to.
And be like, oh my gosh, like, that guy's a perfect squat. Like, I want that. But it's like, I'm never going to have that. Like, I can improve my squat and get it better. And, you know, you can do things to modify these types of exercises. But, like, I think really just finding exercises that feel good and, like, fit your body well and that you can, like, you know, that you enjoy doing and, you know, can progress those over time.
Yeah, I think the social media thing is a huge thing because so I went vegan because of that book, but then I started following all these people that were plant-based. So in my mind, I was like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. Look at all these people, but it's because...
And then you get in the algorithm and then that's all your push.
Exactly.
That's all you see.
I'm like, oh, these girls just eat fruit for breakfast too. Like, this must be normal.
Yeah. Oh, and
you know
they look really good.
They
you
look
know?
amazing. Yeah. So... yeah, social media can be hard and deceiving too because you see this one person that has this certain body and you want to look like them, so you think that you should eat that way when in reality everybody's body is so different.
Yeah, and I think there's obviously, like, some principles or, like, nutritional foundations that are, like, a good starting point, but, like, there's gonna be variations of that are gonna be good for everyone. Totally. Yeah, as I was kind of saying, I think another mistake I made, like, especially when I first got in the gym, was, like, demonizing machines. You know, like, would never catch me on a chest press machine like we're doing barbell or dumbbell bench press, you know, like never catch me on a Smith machine like I'm always doing barbell back squat, bro. Like And
Were you in a frat?
fuck yeah, I was. ATO, love and respect, baby.
Shout out.
Shout out. But yeah, I mean, there's a time and a place for everything, you know? Like, free weights are great because you can load those movements up really heavy. They're, you know, typically, if you're starting your own home gym or something, they're typically more affordable than having 50 million different machines. And that's another thing. They're very versatile. And also in the gym, there's typically plenty of them, you know? You got a whole row of dumbbells. You got typically, hopefully, multiple squat racks and barbells and stuff, so you can use that. But they're not, you know... It's about having the right tool for the job, right? You wouldn't try to go cut a board with a hammer, you know? I mean...
You might.
You maybe.
I'm just kidding.
But I think it's about having the right tool for the job. And I feel like, again, probably like the last like 6 months or so, maybe even a little more, I've really leaned into machines more and been enjoying them.
I like them, but sometimes they just look so confusing. Like I'm in the fitness industry, and so sometimes I even get embarrassed. I'm like, how the fuck do you use this thing?
Yeah.
It's so complicated.
Well, I think it's also a benefit that, one, I was an in-person personal trainer.
Yeah.
2, I'm a nerd and like nerd out on that type of stuff. And 3, I now work out at the gym that I was a personal trainer at.
I know.
So I think I got a leg up there.
Yeah, you do.
Luckily, we typically go to the gym together. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, the machines can be intimidating. And typically the little diagrams aren't very helpful.
No, I literally look at it and stare at it for 30 seconds. I'm like, no,
I saw this thing on Instagram, and it was like the final boss machine, or like the ultimate machine, and it shows like the body with like the muscles that it's working, and like the whole thing's red. It's like just working every single. I don't remember what it was though.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know, like you look on the side and it tells you what to do, and tell you what muscles it works, and it's like red on the muscles that it's working. Like it'll be like red on the bicep. Yeah. The whole thing was like red, like the whole body was red. One of those kind of had to be there. Jokes, I think. But yeah.
Oh, man.
Any whoosies.
Let's see. I think that was like. Not prioritizing rest. I used to go hard, sometimes twice a day, 7 days a week, even if my body was dying. I was also in this running phase where I would literally run 6 miles a day. While I was auditioning for Warriors, I would literally have practice till like 12. We'd practice till like 11:30, and I'd get home at like 1 or 2. Wake up at like 8 a.m. and go for a run. A 6-mile run. My body was dead. I couldn't function.
Deceased.
And I was still vegan at that time. Like, I was dying. So rest is very, very important.
Yeah, I can relate to that too. I remember, shout out Jeff Nippard. I purchased one of his like 6-day a week push pull leg programs. So, and this is not the program's fault at all. This is my own fault. Just again, not like listening to what I needed, or like listening to what my body was trying to tell me. Because I remember too, I was taking like, I would have like 300 milligrams of caffeine in a pre-workout. I'd have 2 cups of coffee, and then I'd go fucking ham in the gym. Like an exercise would call for 80% intensity, 80% of your max. I was for sure doing like 90 to 95%, like pushing it. And I can remember, so it was a 16-week program I did. I only got to week like 10, and I would literally like wake up in the middle of the night with headaches. Like I was hella sore. I've never, I mean, you hear like overtraining. I think that was like the one time in my life where I was like actually overtraining, and I could feel it. I felt like a zombie. I got jacked, but it wasn't.
But then if it's not sustainable, yeah. It's just
no, it wasn't.
What's the point? Finding this balance of, loving where my body's at, but also like making time for myself, prioritizing rest, but also working out enough to what feels good.
Yeah. And also kind of like on that note, and on what I was just talking about, like working out 6 days a week, like I think another mistake I made was like trying to do too much. And I feel like this is a mistake I see with especially guys, is like just too many exercises. Like you
see
don't
that with girls, too.
need 17 different chest exercises for the guys or 17 different glute exercises for the girls.
Yeah.
You need a handful, like 3 to 4, like max. Like for chest, I'd probably do dumbbell bench press, flat, maybe incline, chest press machine, and maybe some sort of like fly. Like max. And I'm probably realistically doing like 2 of those a week. I think I would have had a lot more progress a lot faster had I, again, found those exercises that worked really well for me. A few, not a fucking bazillion. And 2, instead of focus on like, how many exercises can I get in or how many fucking like really focus on the intensity and like pushing it there and then allowing myself to rest.
Yeah. I feel like that's like kind of a social media thing too. Like that's where I feel like I learned everything at first was social media. And it's like you see these influencers doing like 6, 7 exercises and it's like that's just not realistic.
Well, and I think too the other trap with social media is you see that, you see people doing crazy shit, but then you also see like 100 different people in 10 minutes doing all this stuff and you're like, oh my god, like I'm so lazy, but like that's not a realistic view on what anyone actually is doing or should be doing.
Yeah.
Gotta check the volume here.
But even like social media with everything, nutrition, but also I was gonna say like within those videos they don't talk about intensity. You know, they were like, here, do 4 sets of 10 reps or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they can't even it just doesn't show the whole story.
Yeah, and I just looked down at my notes here, and like the first thing I put down was like too much too soon. You know, like adding too much weight to the bar too soon and ultimately sacrificing form. I think that was me. No, I don't think. I know that was me for sure. You know, I feel like I've always at least known what good form was. Maybe I didn't always have it myself, but I think before you even worry about weight, like how much weight you're lifting or how strong you are, whatever, like perfect the movement. One, to keep yourself safe. You don't want to get hurt. Otherwise, you know, that's just going to delay your progress even further. But 2, to get the most out of each rep. You know what I mean? Like if you're doing like a half range on all your reps, you know, it's like 50% effectiveness versus like 100% effectiveness. So I think that's another mistake that I know I've personally made and that I see about every damn time I go to the gym.
Yeah. Those are like my biggest mistakes. I definitely have some like client mistakes that I think I want to chat about, but do you have any other like personal mistakes?
Yeah, I mean, everything I've talked about has kind of been personal and things I see with clients and things I just see in the gym on social media. But I think another big one that I feel like I definitely struggle with too was like just not enough patience. You know, I think that kind of ties in with like the intensity. You know, I was like, cool, if I go super fucking hard today, like I'll be jacked or, you know, sooner. When in reality, like maybe I did that too much and then I was just exhausted. So maybe I took too much time off the gym. But if I would have gone at like a more steady, consistent pace and just realized like the compounding effect of these tiny improvements.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of what I was going to say with one of my clients or just like people I talk to, even if they're not even potential clients, whatever, we're just kind of chatting, is people try to change everything at once. Yeah. Like, you know, it's this constant cycle of like, oh my God, I need to do this crash diet because I'm going to Hawaii, and they freak out and they work out twice a day. They don't rest. They barely eat. They eat chicken, rice, and veggie, like just trying to change everything. And then they go on vacation and they just indulge because it's not this balanced thing. They're like, oh my God, got to eat as much as I can and enjoy myself because when I get home, I'm going to have to do the exact same thing. And it's like, if you create this balanced lifestyle and balanced way of eating, balanced way of working out, it doesn't change when you go on vacation or not, because you're already eating in a balanced way, so you can eat balanced while you're there too. So you know, I feel like we eat really, really healthy. Like I eat really, really healthy, and it's not just because I want to look a certain way. It's because it makes me feel good. So even when I go on vacation, like, I still eat healthy because it makes me feel good, not because I feel like I have to.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm just also a glutton and I like love.
What's a glutton?
I like to indulge.
Oh. I've never,
but-
that's a word?
Yeah.
Glutton.
Yeah. Learn something new every day, folks. But yeah, I know, like, growing up, like, I literally had this problem, this isn't like anything from my parents, or they weren't like, oh, you got to clean your plate. But like, I literally could not leave food on my plate. And, so yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but I feel like,
You still do that? I feel like,
yeah, kind of, but like, I'm freaking jacked now, so I can handle it. At least I'm aware of it now. But I don't know. I guess just going on vacation made me think of that, and how, like, I don't know why I like had this like scarcity mindset that, like, oh, I gotta get it all right now. I gotta get while the getting's good. But it's like, dude, there's always more. There's always plenty. And like, I think I got like the same kind of thing translated over, like, you know, whether it was like at school, someone's birthday party, it's like, oh, I gotta get a cookie. You're like, I gotta get two. Like, while they're there, it's like, dude, there'll be fucking cookies next week, or you know what I mean? Or like, you can go get cookies. Or
that's, I think, what happens with a lot of women that I work with, and myself included, where it's like, when you're on this diet, and let's just say you're going to a birthday party, you overindulge because you're like, oh my God, I'm dieting for the rest of my life, so gotta like take these special occasions and like use them while I can, so I've got to eat all this stuff and like just binge on this garbage, when in reality, if you just have, you know, if you're craving a cookie in the middle of a week and you eat
have the fun cookie. Yeah,
then that way it's not this like thing that is so
that you build up in your mind.
Yeah. And when you think, what's that car analogy where it's like, if you're constantly thinking about something, you know what I'm trying to say? Like the law of attraction, where you like see a red car, or you buy a red car and you see it everywhere.
You know
what I'm talking about.
I think they call it the cocktail party phenomenon.
Okay, well, whatever.
No, maybe that's a different one. I don't know, but I know what you're saying.
Is where it's like, if you're like, don't eat the cookie, don't eat the cookie, don't eat the cookie. All you're thinking about is the fucking cookie. So if you just eat the fucking cookie, and you stop thinking about it, and it won't be this like.
Or even just think about, like, you know, I think, like, yeah, that is one route and one tip to kind of handle that kind of stuff. But I think another one would be like, instead of like looking at it exclusively, look at it inclusively. Be like, okay, instead of like, don't eat the cookie, be like, eat the fruits and veggie and protein first, and then if I want a cookie, I'll have a cookie.
Crowd out. This is another thing that I work on with my clients, where it's like, crowd out the bad stuff. Don't think about what can I cut out. Think about what can I add in to crowd the other stuff out.
I like that. I've never heard crowd out.
Yeah.
Crowd out.
Shout out to IIN. Yeah. But yeah, just so it's like, okay, then you're actually feeling full and fulfilled, as opposed to like feeling you have to cut things out to where you're like, I'm hungry and I want a fucking cookie. You know?
Word to your mother.
Yeah,
lots of mistakes out there, so hopefully, I don't know, do you have anything else you want to touch on? So I think this was great. I think you know, and I think the important thing too is to, like, I hope while you're listening to this, you weren't like, oh, I can't make a mistake. Like, no, you're gonna make a mistake. Just accept that. You are going to fuck up, and that's okay. It's
part of the journey.
The only way you can, like, really fuck up is if you quit and give up. So don't do that. But yeah, hopefully you guys found this helpful. Hopefully you found this entertaining.
Yeah, hit us up on social media if you have any questions. At
Eric Hunsker on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Make sure you go to the right YouTube. There's like 3. All me. It's a whole thing with Gmail accounts and whatnot. We'll get that sorted. But
I'm just at Ashley Roberts on Instagram. Ashley Roberts Wellness. I just switched that for some reason. On TikTok. Yeah, but Ashley Roberts. I'm the one and only, so.
One and only, yeah. That's actually true. I didn't believe her and I looked it up.
I know. And I was like, I told you, I Googled myself. I'm the only one.
Yeah. Cool. Well, peace out, everyone. Have a great day.
Deuces.